All right. Hey, everybody. Robert Sell. I'm a frequent traveler, and I spend more than half my time on the road, and mostly in North America, but also international. And with all this coronavirus stuff going on, I'm changing a lot of my travel patterns and behaviors, trying to keep myself safe. Of course, I've got a family back home, so I have to think about more than just myself when I'm traveling. I have to think about my whole family as well, and what that would mean if I came back with the flu, or anything worse than that, right? Like the coronavirus. Not high risk at the moment, although they've declared a state of emergency due to it spreading to parts of the world that have a less than ideal healthcare system. So, definitely something to keep an eye on. And, I have to take precautions, as do all of you, right, who travel frequently. I think the first thing to think about is if you don't have to travel, then don't. If you do, then of course we need to do certain things. And I'm going to go through the different levels of precautions that I recommend, and starting from the basic, working all the way up to the more extreme, and kind of telling you what I'm doing now, what's working for me, and just going from there. Okay. So I think the first thing, which is really obvious, which I do more than ever now, is just really watch my hygiene. So as I'm going through the airport, through the Uber, into the airplane, all of that area is gross, super dirty, highly populated, lots of sick people. So I really have to be aware of that and think about what I'm touching. And then, as the hand goes from, something gross like the counter or the handle of something to my face, that's bad. So really need to be conscious of that. I'm washing my hands whenever I can. If I go past a washroom, I'm going to go in there, wash my hands, be careful what I'm touching when I'm in the washroom, of course, and just be really conscious of that. Washing my face when I'm at the hotel, and making sure that I'm keeping clean. I'm trying to remove as much risk as possible from both just the normal flu as well as something serious like the coronavirus. So that's the first stage, right? Just good personal hygiene. Wash the hands as much as you can. If I'm going into like a food court, I'm touching the tray, or if I'm getting some gas or something like that, I want to wash my hands, or do something, sanitize my hands as quickly as possible. So that's definitely something to do. Step one. Step two is sometimes you can't wash your hands. Sometimes you're not in an area where you can readily do that. Maybe you're on an airplane and the washroom's busy and you want to eat your food, or there's something like that, right? So the answer to that, of course, is a little bit of Perel. Perel's the brand. Buy whatever brand's available. This is the little travel size, and this goes with me across the border every time I fly. TSA safe. They don't say anything about this. It's an appropriate size. They have another one that has like a little clip on the bottom that hangs off people's backpacks sometimes, so that it's like really easy to use. Works really great. When you put it on, just make sure you get a good amount of it on your hand. I usually put it in the palm of my hand, and then I rub it around, of course, right? Get all my fingers. Your fingertips are usually the point of contact on a lot of stuff, so you want to really make sure you get your fingertips in your fingers, and then of course your thumbs. That's an area where a lot of people forget, is your thumbs, and your thumbs are making a lot of contact with stuff, right? So that's the main area of focus there. So this is a great product. This actually cost me $2.29 when I bought it. If you go buy it now, because now we're in the big state of panic, it's going to be at least double that, right? But still worth having. Yeah, just a little travel size is perfect. This has lasted me probably 6 months, and it's still, a quarter full. So a little does go a long way. Great product, super cheap. Sorry, I'm just getting over a cough. Hopefully not the coronavirus, but it's really hard to get rid of this cough. I had the flu a few weeks back. Now, that's great for your hands. Works really well. But what about surfaces, right? So this here, wet ones, really any sort of alcohol, cloth, disposable hand wipes are perfect. Doesn't have to be these. I bought these, $1.69 is what I paid for these. And this is a brand name, so it should be the most expensive. Yesterday, I bought a generic pack for over $5. So that shows you how much of a markup the coronavirus has offered retail outlets for these sort of products. So pretty amazing. And we see that across the board on masks and everything else. So I would buy some of these. These are great for things like your steering wheel, right? How many times have you touched your steering wheel? How many times do you cough on your steering wheel? You get gas for your vehicle. You've touched the gas handle, which is gross. A million people have touched that, and a bunch of them have been sick. And then you jump in and you touch your steering wheel, right? So these are great for that. These are great for when you're on the airplane and you want to wipe down the tray. The airplanes are disgusting. So, you want to really make sure you wipe stuff down if you can. A lot of people think that you're getting sick on the airplane because of the air, which I don't really believe to be true. There's a lot of studies out there that have gone into the air quality on airplanes, and it's actually not as bad as people will make out it to be. I don't think it's that bad at all. So they have a very robust filtration system on the airplanes to make sure people don't all get sick that are on the airplane, right? Of course. And so when people are getting sick, I think it's really from touching things that are not clean, and then taking their fingers and putting it, rubbing their eye or eating food or something like that. So that's why these are such a great product. In fact, when I get on an airplane, I turn up the airflow quite a bit so it's blowing the air past me, and so that this person can't really have the opportunity to breathe on me very much because that air is blowing away. So that's what I do as a frequent traveler. I don't get sick very much, nowhere near as much as other people, and I think it's because of those techniques that I do, such as that one, right? Such as washing my hands a lot. I get to the hotel, I wash my face. It's really just something that I've built into it as a habit now. But these are fantastic. I use these a lot, always in my pack. Same with this. These two are my good to go all the time, not just for coronavirus, but just for flu season or whatever, right? Because travel, you touch a lot of gross stuff. Food courts, gas pumps, this suitcases, luggage, all that stuff is just lots of bad things going on there. So these are great to have. So washing your hands, washing your face, Perel, antibacterial wipes, alcohol wipes, all good stuff. Okay. Let me just get a drink of water quick. Oh yeah, that's better. Now let's get into masks. Okay. So right now, this is the end of January. We see that the coronavirus is moved into North America, not widespread yet, right? So we don't really know what it's going to look like over the next, month or two. We do know that it's a 2-week incubation period, which in my mind is quite scary, because what that means is if I'm infected right now, for 2 weeks, I'm going to walk around, visit my friends, visit my family, of course, live with my family. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to infect all those people, maybe not all of them, but some of them, right? And then those people are going to infect people for 2 weeks without anybody knowing the wiser, right? So to me, that's the worst kind of virus you can have, because you're going to have this big saturation before people really know what's going on. So that's why at this point, even though we don't see a lot of people infected, I'm taking precautions. And one of those precautions is when I get on the plane, I wear a mask. And people look at me kind of weird right now because not a lot of people are doing that. There's about 5% of the people on the plane that are wearing a mask, and I'm one of them. And the rest of the people are usually all from Asia. So, it's a bit awkward for me, but I don't care, because I have a family at home. I have people that are dependent on me at home that I need to watch out for, and I can't bring back something like that to them. They're younger. I have younger boys. I don't know how they would fare with that sort of infection, and I don't want to be the one that's responsible for infecting them. So, yeah, I look stupid on the plane with the mask on, but I don't care. So that's my choice. That's something that some of you as travelers may get to at one point. If you're not wearing a mask now, fine. But down the road, if this gets worse, you may be faced with that choice, and you may have to go there. So, we just have to get over it. It's the new reality if this gets worse. So. So let's look at masks. Okay, I got 3 different types of masks here. They're all fine. What I want to talk about is the ratings, right? That's really what's important. So let's go from my least favorite to my most favorite. And this one here, 3M, very popular brand. I wouldn't worry about the brand too much, although, we know the quality control of 3M is good. They make a good product. Honeywell makes a good product as well, so I'd say that that's a pretty good one. What you're looking for here is the rating, right? So don't worry too much about this model, although some people may have a favorite model or recommended model. What you're looking for here is the rating, which is N95. N95 in North America, what that means is they're trying to say that it's 95% effective, which is really a little bit ridiculous because the effectiveness of a mask is based more on just the fabric and the filtration. It's also based on like how it fits to your face and things like that. So I think it's really hard to measure how effective a mask is just based on the construction. But nevertheless, that's what you're looking for, N95. You can go higher than that. You can get an N100 or a P100. They're both kind of the same thing as far as I understand it. The P should stand for particulate, especially in the Europe region, right? Europe, you're going to see P1, P2, P3. And that's really as high as you need to go. We're not looking for any sort of chemical exposure or protection. So particulate protection is really what we're looking for. In Europe, if you're looking at like a P2 or a P3, buy the P3. The cost difference is going to be very small. And I think buying the P3 is actually worth it. Here in North America, N95 or P100 or N100. The 100, of course, stands for 100% effective, which I don't really think anything is 100% effective. However, it is better than this one, theoretically, or according to the vendor. Could very well be. You're going to pay a lot more for that extra 5%. And I think these are probably sufficient for your needs. But buy whatever you can afford and whatever suits you. As you can see from this particular mask, very generic looking. It's got the adjustable nose piece here to try to help that fit a little bit better. It's got the plastic straps here, which go over the ear. They actually go right across the back of the head. And these get a little bit uncomfortable after a few hours. I've worn, well, the next mask I'm going to show you, very similar to this, for 3+ hours. And yeah, it did get a bit uncomfortable. It started to cut into the ear a little bit. I was lifting the straps up over my head a little bit to get a better fit to prevent that uncomfortable feeling. So, and this one, it will get a little warm there, and the material is a little bit itchy. So it's not sounding very good, is it? It's better than nothing. It's fine. You just have to get used to it. It may get itchy. You may want to take it off. You may want to scratch a little bit, but that's the price you pay. When you're wearing these, it's really hard to eat or drink. And if you're wearing it and you want to do that, keep in mind that you can remove it if there's nobody around, but whoever sneezed or coughed on you has contaminated the outside of that mask. So now when you touch it and then you stick that cheeseburger in your mouth, well, that's bad, right? So be very mindful of that. The reason we're wearing a mask is to protect our airway. And you can do that when it's on, but the minute you go to touch it, you've now contaminated your hands. So unless you have gloves on, you need to wash your hands before you do anything else. So that's really important, right? So P95, that's the number you want to remember. There's links below to products like this on Amazon. That's where I bought this one. The price is going up every day. So if you're going to buy some, now is probably the time. If this outbreak gets worse, they're going to go up higher. And the local hardware store is another option. I've noticed the stores around my neighborhood are all sold out. So that's not good, right? The next one I have, I like this mask a lot better than the previous one. The reason why is because this little valve, and you'll see it says cool flow here, N95. That's what we're looking for, right? That's the golden standard kind of thing that well, not the golden standard, but that's really what I'm looking for. The valve here, it's like a check valve. It allows cold air to go out, but it allows my when I'm breathing in, it's coming through the filter. So what that results in is this whole area being a lot cooler, and it's not as uncomfortable as that first one is as a result of that nice temperature. Little things like that make a big difference over the course of several hours. So it's a lot better that way. One of the things I don't like about this mask, however, is the strap system. So as you'll notice, similar to the other one, because of the way that it comes from these two different areas, I find that if the mask is too low on your head or too high, it's going to cut the bottom of your ear or the top of your ear. And just, you won't notice it the first hour, but after that, you start to notice little things like that. So good mask, but not awesome. Okay. So between the time that I bought the first box and this box, the price went up almost double. Which, I mean, this one's slightly better, but not that much better. So keep an eye on the pricing. All right, so now we're going to get to the third box. And this is my favorite so far. Again, this is P95 rated, or N95, is it? Sorry, I get the two mixed up. Yeah, N95. There's the Europe standard and the North American standard, and I get those two mixed up sometimes. See, this one's kind of like a beak of a bird almost, the way it fits on the face. It kind of like is a bit of a scoop or a cone, and that results in actually quite comfortable fit. And the fabric also, you'll notice, is a little bit different, and it's actually a quite comfortable fabric as well. And see here on the way the straps are done, again, a little more comfortable. So as a result, it's not surprising to know that a lot of healthcare professionals wear these masks, and just because the nice fit, they do protect you quite a bit, quite well as the other ones. And so this would be my go-to recommendation based off of those three. Not readily available, however, so you may have to settle on one of the other ones, of course, right? So the big thing with masks is filtration. So is it rated to the spec that you're looking for, either P3 or N95 in North America? That's what you want to look for. That's your filtration rating. So that's one thing. The second thing is really up to you, and that's how it fits on your face. So what you'll see a lot of people wearing is these surgical masks, which are not really doing much and are not designed to protect you from this sort of thing, right? Those are really to stop the surgeons from coughing into your open cavity when they're doing open heart surgery on you, right? They're for this way protection, not this way protection. So I don't recommend you go out and buy those cheap surgical masks, because really, I don't know what people are. I think people just don't know that those are not great. Maybe better than nothing, but yeah, not that great. The other, I think, misconception is that you can get this from across the airport, and that's not true. These particles that are coming out of your mouth, I mean, if you sneeze and you can actually see the particles going from here into the eyes of the person next to you, that's how you could catch it. It's not going to like float through the airport and then zap me right in the eye, right? That's not how it works. It would be more like I sneeze onto the counter, you touch the counter, you stick your fingers in your eye, or I sneeze directly into your face, which would be quite rude, but you know, in a very busy airport, it's possible. So that's what we're trying to protect against. You could have little gaps in your mask, and it's not the end of the world. But I think that if you're going to get a mask and you're going to sit next to somebody who may or may not have something on the plane, I want to have that fit my face as good as possible. So something to think about. All right. So those are masks. The other thing with masks is if this gets worse, we're going to want to protect your eyes, because that person that's sneezing on you or coughing on you, that can go into your eyes, and that's just as bad as your airway. So we're going to start to see more full face protection, goggles or disposable full face masks, or even if you're in the service industry and you're, you know, having a lot of people go by you, we may even start to see more sort of the gas mask style. And again, that would be more just like a particulate filter on the full face. They call it a panorama style mask, where it's like a full glass shield. I think that's something to think about. If you are going to wear something like that, remember that when you go to take it off, be careful with your hands. Assume it's contaminated, and you need to wipe it off with some sort of alcohol wipes or decontamination wipes. So just keep that in mind if you're going to go then that direction at some point. Okay. Gloves. Let's talk about gloves. Many different types of gloves you can buy. Again, the links will be down below if you want to go buy some. I bought these. They're black. Not my favorite color for gloves because I look like a ninja, and that's not really the look I'm going for in the airport. So I would probably buy something more skin color if I could. They work great. There's another one that I bought right here. I haven't tried these out yet, but these look pretty good. That's the type of fabric that you probably want to go for. Latex used to be popular, but I find that this fabric is quite nice and quite durable. Let me just put them on for you. Now, putting them on is pretty easy. There's no left or right hand glove. They're all kind of the same. I just kind of put it over my fingers like that. You want to make sure you get your fingers in the right slots. That's the trickiest thing. So I kind of get it lined up, and then I'm just kind of like pulling it like this without ripping it, because they can break pretty easy. And just like a sock or something, you know, I'm just pulling, getting my fingers in there, and then adjusting it along the wrist there. There you go. That's what it looks like. I'm a medium, so when you buy gloves, make sure you're buying the right size for your hands. Medium fits me pretty good, right? My tips of my fingers are right there, so it's pretty much a perfect fit. Now I'm going to put the other one on, and putting them on is not what you want to worry about. Taking them off is what you really want to worry about, because you have to assume that you've touched something really bad with these. So let me get them on first. Sliding that on there. Good. Okay, so now they're on. Now we're going to go touch a bunch of yucky stuff. I got, say, coronavirus all over my hands now, plus the flu, plus, you know, other bad, nasty things all over my black ninja hands. Now, I got to take these off without contaminating my hands. I mean, if I was to touch my hands and, you know, I thought there's a risk there, I would just go wash my hands really well. And I'll probably do that anyway, just to be extra safe. But let's just look at how I would take these off with the minimal amount of risk. So first step is I'm grabbing the outside of the glove with the outside of the glove. Excuse me. I'm doing that, and I'm slowly just pulling up to release the glove, holding my fingers close together to try to pinch together the material on the inside of the glove. And you see how it's going inside out, right? That's exactly what I want to do. And I'm just slowly bringing that out. You can do this fast once you get used to it. Doctors do it in a few seconds. But you see now it's inside out. We're looking at the inside of the glove there, which I can touch with my hand because that's the side that was on my hand to begin with. So that's exactly what we want to see. Now I'm going to slowly grab it with this other hand, and I'm going to pull it in and make a fist with this hand. So I'm encompassing it with my fist. The reason for that is because now it's going to be sucked in there somewhere where it can't drop on anywhere or touch anything, so it's fully protected. And that's how I'm going to dispose of it. Now I got to get this glove off with this hand without touching the outside of it. So how do we do that? The secret here is to take your finger and drive it up your wrist underneath the glove. So I'm touching the inside of the glove, never the outside of the glove. So based off of that, I can just turn it like that and pull upward, and see it's going to do that inside out thing again, and it's going to slowly slide off my hand until I can actually grab the inside of it and pull it right off. And that other glove is inside of it. It's like a little garbage bag, right? So now I've removed the glove without touching the outside of the glove, which is perfect. I feel pretty safe. I'd probably still wash my hands just to be safe, but it's good to go, right? I haven't contaminated myself. This can now go into a biohazard bin. If I don't see any sort of biohazard markings or bins, I can throw this in the garbage. And so that's what I'll do right now. So there we go. Woo, into the garbage. Gone, right? So I carry about, 5 or 6 of those in a Ziploc bag in my pack, my carry-on pack right now. Plus I carry a couple masks as well in a Ziploc bag. And I don't wear the gloves yet on the plane, although if this gets worse, I definitely will. So that's what we're looking at right now. Good personal hygiene, having the wet wipes handy to wipe stuff down, counter space, the tray on the airplane, anything like that. Some good N95 or P3 masks. That's the rating that you're looking for. Don't really care about the brand. There's lots of good brands. Honeywell, 3M, other brands, all good. Gloves as well, right? Getting the right size for your hands and putting them on properly, especially taking them off properly. All that's important. So that's kind of like the basic levels that we see that I think you need to think about. Wiping down your stuff, like your luggage, all that's important as well. Be more diligent now, right? Of course. And then also staying away from people that are sick. That's the other thing, right? So with me coughing like this right now, if I'm in the airport, people clear a path for me at this point, which I'm okay with. But so yeah, you definitely want to be a little bit careful that way, especially if people are coughing, in your direction. And then finally, I think if this gets worse, what we're going to see is more of a ventilation type system people will move towards. With the disposables are good. They're hard to get. They're selling out. The price has gone way up. A lot of people have ventilators in their garage. If you're a tradesman, you probably have them already. The 3M ones, you can get new filters for them. As long as they're P3 or N95, totally fine. So we'll see more of that. We'll see more full face shield, both the disposable ones and the ones you probably have in your garage, right? As well, for doing any sort of woodworking or just basic eye protection. Disposable goggles, same sort of thing. And then eventually we could see like the full gas mask ventilation system as well, especially if you're in a really high risk area. I don't expect to see too many people in the airport wearing those. I already see a lot of people on transit. Well, not a lot. I see some people on transit wearing those. The city I'm in, a lot of people are traveling from Asia to this city, so we see more of an increased risk there, people being a little bit more careful. So I do see more of that, and I expect to see more of that in the future if this gets worse. If I was living in Wuhan and I had to walk down the street, that's something I would definitely consider. But at this point, I'm not wearing that on the plane because it does, really stand out and look quite scary when you're wearing something like that. And so I think, gloves and the N95 mask is probably quite sufficient at this point. Good personal hygiene, get the Purell, get the hand wipes going, and just use that more than you normally would. If you're interested in doing some research, if you're traveling to a certain place, you want to know what the infection rates are like, what your risk level is going to be. If you Google coronavirus map, there's a real-time map that's available. I'll put the link below. Definitely something you want to take a look at. It'll kind of tell you what things look like if you don't already know in the location you're going to. So I find that quite helpful. Different companies, if you're working for a company, talk to them before you travel. They may also have some threat intel or research that they do that gives you information as well. Not only what the infection levels are like in the particular place you're going to, but making sure they're aware where you are in case you need to do something like an evacuation or something like that, right? They can give you the emergency procedures and things like that. Not every company will have that, but a lot of the bigger companies do. So definitely something to look into. Make sure that people know where you are and know how to help you if you get in trouble that way. So there's a lot of evacuations being planned for the Wuhan area, and that's it's quite turbulent. I think there's quite a bit of stress going on with that. So work with your company when you do travel. I think keeping that communications even more enhanced and more frequent at this point is definitely a good idea with your company if you're traveling for your company. If not, if it's a personal travel, make sure you talk to your friends and family about what you're doing, especially if you're going to Asia at this point. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I covered most of the things that I typically do, especially at this point. We're going to see how it goes. I've got travel planned for the rest of the year. And of course, I think that we're going to be more diligent and have to have more protection as we move forward. But at this point, I'm just wearing the mask, and probably if it gets worse, I'll start wearing gloves as well. So yeah, if you've got suggestions, please put in the comments below. And I'd love to hear what you're doing when you travel to stay safe from flu and possible coronavirus. So thanks a lot. Safe travels, and talk to you soon.